yourself, fella?
You murdered a policeman, Duke.
Who said that? Duke! Who said that? Shut up!
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit.
I don't like this. This stinks. Let's get the hell out of here. Shut your hole, Maxie.
Did you think you'd get away with it?
Come on, Duke.
Did you think I wouldn't know?
Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name's Travis.
And I'm Patrick with a special guest today.
Hi, I'm Ashley Erin Campbell. I'm a filmmaker, and so my latest project that you might see me on is called The Christmas Bow on the Hallmark Channel. I play Anne. She's an aunt.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Very
good
happy to have you, Ashley.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're a big deal in my household. I mean, Hallmark is pretty much on, or Lifetime, or something about murder, I think, is my wife's go-to. One of those three things.
Hallmark fans are like real fans. Like I'm
joke.
impressed by they like as far as like website hits go and stuff. Like the Hallmark thing has done much more than anything else I've done.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not
I
surprised.
would be a Hallmark queen.
Yeah.
If they wanted me, I would be a queen if I could.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna
Travis.
deviate a little bit from the Hallmark channel.
It's got some Hallmark themes to it.
Yeah. I suppose we'll touch on.
Mystery,
Yeah.
a dashing leading man, and
That's right. Yeah.
a relationship that shouldn't work but does somehow.
Somehow.
I mean, come on. This is
Yeah.
basically a Hallmark movie. I think we've just figured it out.
Okay.
So what movie are we talking about, Travis?
This is 1994's The Shadow, which
Ooh.
has some
The
great
Shadow.
lines like, what evil lurks in the heart of men, only the shadow knows. Which is probably a tagline that I just ruined for Patrick. But that's okay.
Partially.
Yeah.
That's all right. There's plenty.
Okay.
It's got some lines. Yeah,
yeah.
there are some lines. We'll get into that.
Mhm.
I find most movies have lines, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it that. This movie has lines.
Well, the talkies do, yes.
Yes. Oh, that's
Yes.
true. Sorry. My
There's one
apologies.
line I'm really excited to talk about, but
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
probably guess which one. But we'll hold on till we get to it.
I can't wait. That is a hell of a cliffhanger because I want to know what that line is.
Yeah.
All right. So hang on tight, folks.
Well, let's jump into... Patrick, you want to do taglines first, or you do want to do history?
Let's do taglines. Just get it out of the way here.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a couple here. We've got, as you mentioned, The Shadow Knows. Quick and to the point.
Yeah.
Then we've got Who Knows What Evil Lurks in the Hearts of Men.
Okay.
And then we have Like Batman, but much hairier. Now, which one did I make up?
He is very hairy.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot
yeah.
how hirsute he is, I guess.
He also, the Shadow at least, it looks so much like Billy Baldwin, or actually Daniel Baldwin.
Daniel, yes. That's one of my
Daniel,
notes. Like,
Yep.
that's
I think we're
awesome.
so used to older Baldwin, like
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, that we forget what he looked like back in the 90s, maybe.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was astonishing.
Yeah, when I first went back to look at it, because it had been so many years since I had seen it, I had to double check myself because I was like, wait a minute. Wait, was it Billy Baldwin that did it? Or was it Alec? But no, it was Alec. He just, as the Shadow, looks so much like a combination of Billy and Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah, that's pretty much one of my notes is when he just turns into Daniel Baldwin. Just it's weird, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Movie magic.
Mhm. Any other
All right,
taglines,
so
Patrick?
that is it.
Okay. Those are
Those two.
Those make sense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this fell in with like the Dick Tracy of it was a known thing, you know. I'm guessing it didn't need a ton of other taglines created because it had those built in. I mean, those were taglines or phrases from the radio show, and I'm sure they use them in the comics a lot too. So
Well,
It also, it really screamed to me of like, oh, I've got a hot take. I have a lot of hot takes on this, so
fire away.
Oh, fire away. Okay. So it struck me very much, and I looked at some like kind of commentaries on the movie just to see if my thoughts were in line with some other people's.
Okay.
And one thing that they brought up was that Batman, the first like really successful, it was either Burton's or Schumacher's Batman was in '89.
Yeah.
And so the Shadow to me kind of seems like very much riding that wave of these new superhero movies being a super popular thing and just like kind of rushing to get one out there to jump on that trend
For
a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the soundtrack kind of made me think that too.
Mm-hmm.
Just the orchestral like gravitas, I guess, from it.
Yeah. It struck me kind of early on when I was kind of watching the start of the movie and seeing the credits and everything, and seeing Jerry Goldsmith's name as far as the composer for the movie didn't surprise me. And then I was throughout the movie really pleased with the music. I think he did a really good job. It's not quite doesn't hit some of the levels of Danny Elfman's Batman score, but it's really good. So
yeah, I should correct myself. I meant to say score. So sorry.
Oh, that's
nerds.
okay. That's okay.
Not soundtrack. All right, so we want to do the history?
Yes, please.
All right, mine's quick. I'll get it over with. I saw it once. I was bored. I watched it last night. And I honestly kept confusing this with The Phantom.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the and then insert word.
I mean, both
and it's like
pulp
the
heroes.
same era.
Yeah.
So I honestly, like, my reminder for today was the Phantom podcast.
Oh.
In my phone instead of the Shadow.
So
like, that's how much I constantly confuse the two movies.
Okay. So do you mean you had seen this once before and then watched it last night, or last night was the only time you'd seen it?
No, I watched it once before.
Okay.
And I remember thinking it was just all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, it didn't leave much of an impression on me. And, we also had, Batman Returns that was a little bit before this, and
sure. Yeah.
Whatnot. So I don't know. That, and I think I was already I had a predisposition to like already think it's an old man kind of movie, because it's, like it was mentioned, it has that Dick Tracy era vibe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought it was more of like something my dad might like than me, but we'll see what you guys think.
Yeah, my history with the movie is pretty much the same as yours. I had seen it. I probably rented it. I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, when like Netflix was doing disc rentals, or maybe Blockbuster Online or whatever. Just watched it once just because I had never seen it, and I was also just I didn't have any expectations going in, so I to say I was underwhelmed would be incorrect. I just was, I don't know, just indifferent about it, I guess. And I did not remember anything from that viewing leading up to now. Like, none of it really stuck with me. And so going into it this time, I was not expecting much, but it sounds like I had a different experience than Patrick did, because I came away really enjoying this. So I'm definitely interested to keep talking about it and figure out what we all liked and didn't like about it. But I'm really curious, Ashley. And this kind of goes back, like, I think we randomly connected via Instagram like 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
I messaged you and was like, hey, would you like to come on? And sent you the list of movies we were doing. And you came back with The Shadow, which I knew was like, okay, we're not going to get to The Shadow for a couple years down the line. And then, when I emailed you back a few months ago and said, hey, we're still doing this. If you're still interested, let me know. And I'm glad that you were still interested. So I'm dying to know, why The Shadow?
This is the greatest movie of all time, obviously. I mean, it's great, but let's see. Okay, so you sent me a list of a few choices, and I think because you were on movies that were set in the 30s, is that how that went, or was it made in the 90s?
I think we were back in the 80s, maybe when Travis talked to you, or
yeah, I think that was it. You were like, okay, this is the time frame. So I had like a selection of movies, and I think I initially wanted to get The Rocketeer, but that was already spoken for.
Okay.
And then I saw The Shadow, and I was kind of, oh, Alec Baldwin. Yeah, I remember this. And I was like, oh, and he was like super funny. And I don't remember. I thought maybe that was the first time I was aware of Alec Baldwin. But as I look at IMDb right now, no, he was in The Hunt for Red October 1990. So that's, my memories are not correct at all.
And Beetlejuice, probably 87,
and Beetlejuice, yeah,
maybe.
All these, I thought that this was my introduction to Alec Baldwin, and I remember thinking he was super hot and super funny. And then I also thought that was really funny, and I realized after emailing you that I was thinking of the movie Hudson Hawk.
Oh, this is great. This is the greatest moment.
Nice.
Oh.
And so
I feel so much better now. Okay.
So was there a little part of you that was like, I don't want to email this guy back and back out now?
No, because okay. I thought I distinctly remember Alec Baldwin, and so I was like, oh, well, The Shadow must have been really funny too. I'm just having a hard time. It wasn't Hudson Hawk. I don't remember originally seeing The Shadow. I know I saw it at some point. I don't know if it was in the theater or at home, but I just remember Alec Baldwin, The Shadow, hot, funny.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm so glad that this is what it turned out to be, because I was worried. It was like, this was the last film I watched with my great-grandfather before he passed away, and that's why I love it so much. I couldn't figure out a reason why somebody would pick this movie out of the list. Oh, okay, I feel better now, so thank you for that, Hudson Hawk.
Shout out to whoever gets to do Hudson Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Hudson Hawk is a movie that I always get confused, I think, in my head with The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, the Andrew Dice Clay movie.
Really?
Yeah, just the name, Hudson Hawk, Ford Fairlane. I don't know. Just...
Yeah, we're all kinds of confused.
Yeah.
This is a hot mess of a trio we got here. All right.
All right. Okay. That's the story.
All right.
Oh, and then I watched it last week, and I read the script. So there's that too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Making us look bad by doing homework. Man.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. Oh.
You're not going to fit in on this podcast.
No.
I wouldn't think so, no.
I was surprised. I was about to pull the trigger on renting it via iTunes, and I saw the names Tim Curry, Peter Boyle, and Ian McKellen, and I was like, what the... I had no memory of those three actors. I'm not surprised by Tim Curry and Peter Boyle so much, but to see Ian McKellen's name in the listed in iTunes, that surprised me. I was like, I have no memory of this place.
Yeah, and so many character actors too.
Oh,
that would,
yeah.
There were a ton of like, oh, that guy moments for me, and I had to go back and look them all up. And a lot of them, I still don't know their names. It's just people that I recognize from so many films from that era.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I do have in my notes the dad from Alf.
Okay,
he was in the scene with the delivery of the giant crypt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know that guy. He's the dad from Elf, but that's all I got. Yes.
And like the guards at the lab, one of those was on a bunch of TV series. Like there were a bunch of them.
The big guy was Abraham Ben Ruby, who I know from Parker Lewis Can't Lose and ER.
Yeah.
But he's also like, we're in Indianapolis, and he's like a hometown, kind of not hero, but but has some restaurants.
Of the city.
Yeah, celebrity. And then the guy standing next to him, the other guard, is he's one of the he's in an episode of Seinfeld. He's like the guy that Jerry doesn't want to be friends with, I think.
Oh, is he the other comedian?
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And a ton of other things. But yeah, this movie is so full of that guys and character actors and
it's stacked.
Yeah, I mean James Hong is in this at the start of it. He gets killed pretty quickly, but he's in everything. So
it has all the hallmarks of like one of those studio films that was like so set up so perfectly and should have been so great, but just quite turn out.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna have to call this out. She just said all the hallmarks. I think she's
noticed.
trying to plug. Subliminal.
Yeah.
That was not on the conscious level.
Okay. Sure. All right, I'm gonna keep a hallmark count, and we're going.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Ding. I'm gonna do it on purpose now.
Yeah. The hallmark of this scene was really when Alec Baldwin said no.
3.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a weird opening for a movie when your hero, in quotes, is like a crime lord of a opium den in somewhere in, I guess,
Tibet.
in Tibet, or okay. It's we meet Alec Baldwin's character Lamont. Well, we don't know his name is Lamont Cranston, but they bring in, like I said, James Hong, and it's by two other that guys. I know it's one guy, I can't remember what I've seen him in, but everything. And then it's Bob Genghis Khan from Bill and Ted's and Die Hard. They drag in James Hong, and he just has his men execute him by killing one of his own men. And this is the hero of our movie, folks.
Oh.
That was the most heroic moment.
There it is.
I think I came into this a little confused then.
Okay.
Because I thought the Lamont was like a character he made up to confuse the commissioner. Like I didn't think that was his actual uncle. Like I thought it was all fake.
Oh, I don't know. I think
like the backstory about disappearing for 7 years and all that. Like I didn't think he was actually that guy. Like I thought it was a mind game.
Oh.
I think it's real because when he goes to when they take him from this place and take him to the temple to meet Tulka, he calls him Lamont Cranston, and he's like, "How do you know my real name?" So I think that's who he really is. He's just a guy that, based on what his uncle says, something about going to the war and like never coming back. So he must have gone. I'm trying to think. I don't know why.
The timeline.
I don't know which
the timeline
war
for the whole
would
movie's
have
off.
taken him.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah, I thought it was all a scam because he had like a gigantic mansion of a house, and I thought he was like just scamming the crap out of everybody.
I think it's definitely worth noting that this came out. Well, the Shadow came out like in radio plays and eventually in magazines like almost a decade before Batman. So I think they definitely borrowed things. I think Bruce Wayne owes heavily to Lamont Cranston having the billionaire playboy type character, and even just someone that then puts on a suit and fights crime, that sort of thing. Like Batman owes a lot, I think, to the Shadow and other characters. I mean, they all kind of were riffing on each other. So definitely think that's intentional.
Agreed. Yeah. So I have a lot of comments on this opening.
Sure.
I do think that was real. I think that's his real backstory, where he is this warlord. I assumed based on that he, for some reason, had gone to fight in the Great War, meaning World War One, and then had migrated over to Mongolia to become a warlord sometime after, like doing a 7 years in Tibet kind of a thing, maybe.
It's one of my notes too.
And then,
well, it's literally like it goes from, I'm gonna do your training, and then it cuts to this text on screen, and then it returns to New York, and it's like 7 years later. So it's like he literally spent 7 years in Tibet.
Well, that was just the training, right? 7 years. So it was like years before that, even. To build his opium den or something. I don't know.
It's unclear. The timeline for the film is totally unclear. That scroll of text that they added, which I can't remember exactly what it said, was not in the script. It just was a title card, New York City, 1935.
I took a picture of it because I was so surprised to get a scrolling kind of thing in place of any kind of origin montage training sequence. Like to have this, scrolling text was just, I thought, was really a strange choice. So it does say the price of redemption for Cranston was to take up man's struggle against evil. The Tulku taught him to cloud men's minds, to fog their vision through force of concentration, leaving visible the only thing he can never hide, his shadow. And then it continues, says something about he returned to the layer of villainy or something like that, and then says New York City. So
yeah, that was actually why I wanted to read the script, because this is super weird. Why is this in here? I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
And it felt to me like it was the hallmark of when a film
ding
doesn't quite work out. So you go back and you say, okay, how can we fix this knowledge gap or communication gap? So then they inserted that to try and maybe explain things where viewers saw the film and were like, what is happening? Why is this happening? And they thought maybe that would sort of explain it for the viewers.
I wonder, and I haven't thought about this until just now. I wonder if there were plans to do some kind of training sequence or more of him in Tibet training, and then that didn't work, so they scrapped it for this. Or I guess if the script just goes, from that point to New York, then I guess maybe there wasn't anything planned. But it feels like they cut around something and did this in place. So it is a weird thing to do.
Yeah. The script had lots of scenes cut out that were like flashbacks, but that was not included in them. But to be fair, I read the shooting script. So maybe that was in a previous draft. Who knows?
Yeah. Because normally the practice is you show, don't tell, where, and that's kind of why we get montages a lot, where you can show us visually what happens, and you don't need narration or whatever. So to literally put text on screen to tell us what is happening that we don't get to see is, again, just an odd choice. But either way, I guess it takes us from Tibet, where I did want to mention there's that weird, I keep saying weird, that's my hallmark, I guess, of this episode. The thing with the knife that's like sentient and he fights with it. The knife thing never worked for me throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So
what? Did it grow arms at one point?
Yeah, kind of crawling around like a scorpion.
Crawl? Yeah, okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Which, speaking of comic books or movies borrowing, it was quite like Mary Poppins from Guardians of the Galaxy, like his little arrow.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I forget his real name.
Poppins. I thought we were going to Mary Poppins' umbrella being sentient, but no, you were
shit, what is his name?
Zandu or Zandu?
Yondu,
yeah.
I kept wanting to say Drax, but that's a different character. Mary Poppins, yeah. I'm Mary Poppins,
All
y'all.
right.
Exactly.
You're not
wrong.
And
the whole backstory is quite reminiscent of Ra's al Ghul in Batman's Begins as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
It definitely has this and the opening of Batman Begins and like Doctor Strange and some elements of the original Iron Man, like comic origins. It's like it has the, you know, the white man goes to the mystic East, and, you know, it has a little bit of that stuff that I know can be problematic. I don't know why Tolku would choose Lamont Cranston to be his, like what did he see in him that thought he would be worthy of training and redemption? Like, it seems weird to take someone who basically is a bad guy and say, you're going to be a hero now. And I don't know, it surprised me for sure.
Didn't he say something
Agreed.
about he's seen the evil, or like there was something that he said, like, where it's like he's experienced it and lived it, so he's more apt to like be able to fight this evil if he knows it so well, kind of thing.
Okay. Because he's got that darkness in him, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's what he was getting at. It was kind of hard it was real quick in the movie, but
sure.
I think it was basically that, and it sounded like he didn't even know if he'd survive, because he said, is this hell? And he's like,
oh yeah,
what was it? Not yet, or something like that. So maybe it's like he's done this to like 7 other opium warlords,
right.
And he's the only one that made it through. I don't know.
That's in my notes. I was writing notes as we first watched, and one of my notes is white dude, of course.
No, I have white savior written in my notes, so yeah.
It was.
I don't have that. I have something grosser written in my notes, so I'll just be quiet.
Nice setup for later.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll save it.
Okay. So I guess we take it to really the first shadow sequence is what I go to next. I think the setup on the bridge where we've got, you know, random gangster, another character actor, and they're shaking down what's his name, Ray Tam, is that what his name is? Later, another character actor. He was one of the bad guys recently for us, Patrick, in Ninja Turtles 3. He was like the warlord in Japan who was
the Emperor.
Yeah.
Another classic.
Yeah. So they're, you know, shaking Ray down and about to kill him. He's literally wearing the cement boots, and then you start hearing this eerie laugh, and I was really impressed with the sound design here because, at least in my headphones here, watching it, like the laugh was coming from, you know, both sides. A great use of stereo, and then as Lamont starts talking, it's coming from everywhere, and you can really feel the what it kind of felt like to be one of these guys, like not knowing where this voice is coming from. So I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, I was in the opposite direction. I mean, I could appreciate that, but I was like, this movie better not be a bunch of this. This is going to get real old real fast.
Okay.
I felt like it just was like forever long, and I'm just like, God, this dude's such a pompous ass. Just laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just done. I was like, all right, that better be the last of it. Spoilers, it wasn't, but I thought it was going to be a lot more, so I'll give it some credit for pumping the brakes.
Gotcha.
My note was they're really into maniacal laughter here.
Yeah.
It was very radio.
Yeah,
Very radio show, so I guess that's what they were going for. Spot on.
Oh, I'm going to nerd out for just one more second here.
Please.
In my homework, I also tried to find some of the original comics because there were so many things about this movie that I was like, oh, that's so cheesy. And I was like, are they like being faithful to the original comic? Is that why they did that? And I do think that was a fair amount of it. And some of those comics, like there was one in particular where it was just the shadow in the front surrounded by ha 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 in giant letters.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine if you're trying to do this thing for a radio play, like you need to fill the space with sound. So a menacing laugh is a good way to do that, because it's a good thing. Like, there's probably a reason Batman didn't start out with radio dramas, because he's primarily a very silent, dark figure, so you can't really do silent, menace on a radio show. So I think the laugh makes sense. There were definitely times where it's like, okay, this feels a little over the top.
It just seems hammy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. I think that's intentional to some degree.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't as often as I was afraid it was going to be. So,
the rest of the bridge scene, though, once the Shadow shows up and starts fighting, I was blown away by the shadow effect.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that it looked so good for something that was made in '94, and I don't know. I mean, we watched, Predator, the both Predator movies, a couple, maybe a year ago or so, and the invisibility and stealth effect of Predator is very iconic, but it's not a great effect. But this, to show someone moving, basically invisibly, I was blown away. This fight scene looked like it could have been in a movie, that was released today, I thought. So I was blown away by that.
Yeah, it was cool with like the mist kind of effect with the fists and stuff. Now the shadow itself later on.
Oh yeah, later on.
That is great. But,
I don't know.
But yeah, I agree. I like the shadow fight sequence there.
I think this is a better introduction than what we get in the '89 Batman, when we see that Batman is observing some people that just mugged and possibly killed somebody, and he waits to confront them until they're counting the loot, and he shows up, and it's a cool scene for sure. I love that '89 Batman intro scene for Batman, but I think this is better, actually. So there's my hot take.
Okay.
Wow.
That makes sense. So the director of The Shadow is a guy named Russell Mulcahy.
Mm-hmm.
If I no idea if I said that remotely correctly.
Yeah.
But he also he also did Highlander back in '86, and I guess his thing was special effects.
Okay.
So it makes sense, because the knife was a little much, but for the most part, I felt like exactly, for like that time, pretty good. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we still screw up things like that today. Even,
oh yeah.
Like where you're just doing something because you can, but not necessarily because you should, or it really adds anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was maybe just caught up in the excitement of fancy new toys. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I forgive it. It's not even like 94. Yeah. So I've seen worse.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'd see Lamont kind of Bruce Wayne for a while. Like, we see him, he's at this club, and he kept calling him his uncle, and I just assumed that was a kind of a nickname. I don't know why. I just didn't initially think that they were literally uncle and nephew until much later. This commissioner does introduce Lamont as his nephew, so that one surprised me, But he just Alec Baldwin in this tux at this club. It's almost a shame that Alec Baldwin didn't play Batman, because he would have been perfect for the Bruce Wayne, part. I mean, he looks amazing, as that type, that square jawed hero type.
Weird. The vibe I got was James Bond.
A little bit, yeah.
With the tuxedo, like, I don't know.
Which makes sense why
English,
he
but...
was. Yeah, makes sense why he played Jack Ryan for Hunt for Red October. It's the CIA version of James Bond. Kind of.
True.
He's not as much of a smooth, ladies' man, that kind of character, but it's in the same vein.
I got another hot take for you. I actually. Just sort of the vibe I get for the character of the Shadow overall is he's so supposed to be internally conflicted. And I don't get that vibe from Baldwin quite as much.
Okay.
They seem to be going for humor a lot. And of course, in this film, I don't think they pushed it with him as far as we can go, or maybe it was just where he was in his career. It's like, or maybe it was just the tone that they set with the film.
Yeah.
But if they were going to go for his humor, they could have definitely pushed that further. If they were going for the sort of like shadowy, tortured guy, I think Billy Baldwin might have been a better choice.
Yeah. I think that
he wasn't a name.
Yeah. I think that Alec Baldwin, I think he can brood on screen and smolder like almost nobody else, especially at this age of Alec Baldwin. Like I think it's very surface level. He looks like he's conflicted and tortured, but he's really just has that brooding ability to look, introspective. I agree. I don't know that there's much under the surface there, but I think he looks the part.
Okay. Yeah.
Billy Baldwin.
I mean, he's hot. He that's why I liked the movie.
Yeah. I love that there's a scene where when he's talking to his uncle and they're talking about the shadow, and it plays with the lighting in the room, and it just drops Alec Baldwin into shadow and just highlights his eyes, and he's like, "You're not gonna pursue this matter any further." And his uncle's like, "No, I'm not gonna look into it." I like the way that they play with his ability to do the clouding men's minds sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that was the perfect, like, Jonathan Winters I know as like Robin Williams kind of idol.
Okay, yeah.
Like he's a big comedian, like big on Johnny Carson and whatnot back in the day. So like it's weird for me to see him as serious as he was. So that little snippet was kind of nice. Where it's like he can pull off befuddled really well.
Yeah.
I just was thrown by the Jedi mind tricks. I just was like, "What? Wait, Jedi mind tricks? He has Jedi powers?"
Cloud men's minds.
Yeah.
And then the rules on that sort of don't make sense for me throughout the film.
Okay.
So he can do it sometimes, but not other. I could have used some clarifications on the rules of his Jedi mind powers.
Okay.
They don't work on the lady friend because she's got her own mind magic.
The one lady in this movie that he can't.
Yes.
And is it like he says that she's special, she has a power, and then he does try to Jedi mind trick her, and it clearly doesn't work. And it's like, is it because of the literal the line of like you can cloud men's minds, and is it like a is it like an Eowyn in Lord of the Rings where it's like I'm no man, is it that, or is it because she's special? So I think it's
I think she's special.
I think so too, but it made me wonder, like it's the one woman that we see for most of the movie, but it's the one woman that he interacts with for sure, that it doesn't work on. So it's kind of a Vampire Bill and Sookie Stackhouse True Blood kind of situation where he can't read. Is that how it works? He can't bedazzle her or whatever it's called. But
he could read her mind because he could tell what kind of wine she wanted, but he couldn't control her mind.
Yeah.
I'd like the record to show that Travis just said that he couldn't bedazzle her, as if she were like a purse or a jean jacket.
In True Blood, he couldn't like put his little effect on her.
God.
Can we
Mesmerized.
refer to the effect as bedazzling?
Yes.
Of the podcast, please.
Yes.
God.
The shadow bedazzles people.
Yes. But her mind power blockage doesn't work with the other guy. And she also doesn't see the giant hotel.
Yeah.
So her ability is kind of weird.
It was weird. There wasn't enough explanation, I guess, of why she has abilities, where those come from.
Also, why can't he read Shah Khan's mind?
I kind of get that because they both have the same powers, kind of, and I don't know, maybe Shah Khan just is he knows the mental block for keeping him out of his mind, kind of.
Oh, maybe. I also think maybe Shah Khan was just more powerful than him since he's able to control Margot's mind.
Could be.
Yeah, that's how I took it too. And he can control the little knife buddy.
Yeah. I guess that is a clear indication that he had more power than,
or at least more refined, I guess.
Yeah. Another weird person to see in the movie is Tim Curry, playing. I mean, he's such a great creep.
Yeah,
but he's in this lab with Ian McKellen, who's just playing this great, sweet old befuddled, professor. And but yeah, Tim Curry exits the room and he says something about a beryllium sphere, which I knew that's something that's going to come back. I can tell that's not just a word that gets thrown around.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing him get put in his place by Penelope Ann Miller was really nice.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I was trying to think if he's ever not played a creep before. The closest I could think of was Clue.
Oh.
But every other movie, I think he's like a creepy dude.
Yeah.
But hey, if you got it.
Yeah.
He knows he knows what he can do.
Yeah. He comes into his powers later in the movie. We'll get to it.
Oh yeah.
It's true.
Oh, man.
I do have to jump back a little bit because I feel like we are doing a disservice if we do not acknowledge. We mentioned the soundtrack earlier, and one of my notes to myself is, yes, Kenny G.
Okay.
And I confirmed that while Lamont and Margot are dancing in this 1930s ballroom, a Kenny G solo comes on.
Oh.
So just out of nowhere, Kenny G's being thrown at you.
I was probably just so soothed that I didn't even notice.
See?
Okay.
I immediately went to Wayne's World where Garth is getting a root canal to Kenny G music. Yeah, Kenny G was in my household, and I'll never forget or forgive.
Why was Kenny G in your house?
My mother. Yanni was there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I put those two in the same musical jail cell.
Sure.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, okay. Well, now I got the heebie-jeebies with the Tim Curry and Kenny G combo. So thanks for that one.
You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
There's some great moody cinematography going on here when Margot comes in to talk to her father and she's on the love seat couch kind of situation in front of him. It does this nice double focus where we can see her and she's clearly in the foreground and he's tinkering away at something at his little workbench behind her, but it has both of them clearly in focus and it's a very nice very noir kind of effect kind of shot. So I thought there was that and a few other little moments throughout the movie of just good photography. Some of it, the rest of the movie at some points is just very not remarkable, I guess, because the city scenes it doesn't have the pop and color that the Dick Tracy movie had, but it feels similar without, I guess, if you just muted the colors, it still feels a little bit like that because there's definitely a lot of matte paintings and miniatures for the city and stuff that really worked. I actually enjoyed, but
yeah, I couldn't tell if I liked that or not, honestly.
Okay,
because it seemed like especially his house, the exterior, it just I don't know. Every once in a while, it just hit me ugh, why am I looking at a matte painting?
Yeah,
or it made it seem like the street was an obvious movie lot with a couple streets.
Yeah.
With a matte painting in the background. I don't know. There's certain pieces like that, that just brought me out. But
okay.
All in all, I mean, not too bad. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is. But
I was out the whole time as far as that goes.
Oh, okay.
Just because. Yeah, the whole film, I felt like I was on a movie set with paintings in the background. I think I'm probably hyper aware of it, and I do tend to. I like grittier films, I guess. Even when it comes to comic book films and fantasy films, I like grittier versions. Like Rogue One's my favorite Star Wars, and I like the Nolan Batmans.
Yeah.
And so I think I do have that sort of like bias there, but that it definitely took me out.
Okay. That
being said,
oh, go ahead.
Still her favorite movie of all time. So.
Sure.
It was still like some of the images were very stunning. Like they definitely had some shots when I wasn't being taken out by like a matte painting in the background where like in the ballroom and actually in the interior of his home, I thought was like a really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
I will say, like, no other movie has ever given us pneumatic tube porn like this movie does. And that
was pretty cool.
Was delightful.
Yes.
It's like 45 seconds of following this pneumatic tube system throughout the city, and it's like it does that joke, that Family Guy thing of where it's like something goes too long and it's not funny anymore, and then it keeps going, and then eventually it comes back around to being fun, and it was just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but it was just silly.
I know. I was like, how does nobody notice these tubes all over the city? They're literally like over rooftops, along buildings. Some lady sees one shake while walking by.
There was no email, Patrick. How do you think people delivered messages?
That's what pigeons are for. Jeez.
Right.
Freaking pigeons out of work.
I also really
now.
liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, this city is like crawling with tubes.
Yeah. Why can't he mind control pigeons?
Right.
He could do that.
Well, no, not a man. Well, maybe men pigeons, if there are men pigeons.
Good point.
I don't know. That's the weirdest sentence I've said in a long time. Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave that alone.
Yeah, I was kind of like stuff like that, and I was just constantly charmed by the production design throughout the movie. Like when the cab first shows up on the bridge after that bridge fight scene, it's like, is this like the Batmobile version of a cab? Like at first I didn't think there was a driver because the door just opens itself and then these headlights come out of nowhere. I thought it was self-driving. But it's like that, the cab, I kind of liked the matte paintings of the city. When he says like, take me to my sanctum, like, and we go to this hidden little place that he has kind of underneath the city, like all that kind of stuff really, really worked for me. And that's, we get, I was surprised to have a little meeting between Shao Kahn and Lamont here, and a nice little back and forth, because it's Lamont, is confronted with an intruder basically, and he doesn't want to give anything away, and then obviously Khan like starts throwing things at him, and revealing that he knows who he is. So it's a nice back and forth. And I guess we didn't really mention that Shao Kahn shows up. He's in this exhibit, and they basically find the tomb of Genghis Khan, and this guy's inside of it. So
yeah, that confused me at first. I thought it was Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
and there was like some time manipulation thing going on or maybe he's just immortal.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't sure what was going on at first.
Yeah, I'm glad he said that he's the descendant, but then it's still like, so was this just a Trojan horse? What? I don't know.
It was very confusing. I thought, like, even from the opening where he's in his drug warlord phase, I think in the opening card they said like 19 a year in Tibet. Mm-hmm. In the script they didn't have that year, but I thought we were in like medieval Tibet or something, like ancient Genghis Khan Mongolian warlord times. And then I thought maybe at the beginning, when all of a sudden we were in New York in 1935, maybe I didn't read the card closely enough. The shadow lives forever. Like he's a character that doesn't die.
Yeah, I was on the same boat as first.
And then when the crate arrives in the museum, and they're like, "This is the sarcophagus of Genghis Khan," and first of all, the guy reads the name in Latin. If it's from Genghis Khan, why is it inscribed in Latin? But okay. And there he says, Temujin, this is the real name of Genghis Khan. So I thought it was Genghis Khan until like much later in the film when they said, no, I'm the descendant of Genghis Khan. So it was very confusing.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm thinking it was just a showy entrance, because didn't they say like some Easterner bought that hotel like 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
When the guy went bankrupt building it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or was that all a memory implant? Because I don't know. That whole hotel thing really screwed me up.
Yeah, the hotel was built, and then no one could remember anything after that. They couldn't remember it being torn down, so it's like, and finally Lamont realizes that he somehow hypnotized the entire city.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't think the writers were like, well, crap, let's just do this.
Also, the physics of the hotel don't make a lot of sense, because they make a big show of like the rain scene, and if the hotel's still there but invisible, why is the rain going through it? Shouldn't it be like creating a shield around it?
Unless I mean, plus he can also show you rain that's
right.
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I like that they kind of established that with when Lamont gets to the temple and he sees this little tiny hut, and he's like, that's not a temple. And then the clouds clear away, and there's this big, monastery, or so it's kind of that, like it's something that was there that you didn't see. So it's just that again.
Yeah. Some opium dens.
Right.
I don't know.
Let's see. Khan leaves Cranston with a coin that then he takes to Roy Tam.
I think it's either Ray or Roy.
Okay.
I forget which one.
But he takes him this coin because I guess he's
a scientist.
He's a scientist, yeah. So he needs some metallurgical knowledge.
Luckily, he's that type of scientist, by the way. So.
Sure.
You're a scientist? Yeah, but I look at molds and fungus.
Yeah.
You can figure it out.
Maybe that's just something he got from directing Highlander, because that's the same reason that he goes to the cops bring in the woman in that, who becomes the love interest. Like, she's has the metallurgical background, but
really?
Either way,
was it bronzium or something?
Bronzium, yeah.
Yes.
So that leads them to talking about, they leap to this assumption that it's going to be used for a bomb, and then they're right, of course, but it's a big, like, well, this is bronzium. If it is used in this way, it could be turned into this implosion device, an atom bomb, if you will. So that seems a little silly, but
it's convenient.
Little exposition, just kind of it's essentially them putting text on a screen, like
this is where we're going, folks.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fine. So they set up the bomb threat, and this is like right around the time I could use another shadow scene. Luckily there was one coming in a few minutes, because I think it takes us back to the club, if I'm not mistaken, and that's where he kind of gets reintroduced to Margot through his uncle.
She says like her dad's missing or not missing, acting weird or something. I don't know.
There you go.
Yes.
And then that's when I have in my notes that Alec Baldwin turns into Daniel Baldwin, because we do get the some shadow sequence. Now
his nose just gets bigger, right?
So that's
to disguise his true identity. I don't know.
Yeah. I like the look of that. I like the silhouette that it gives him. It is a very eerie look. I like what they do with his eyes.
Yeah.
I don't get the facial transformation.
I don't either.
Okay.
That was another list of like the rules where I was kind of like, okay, wait. So, oh my gosh, I forgot some important things to tell you. Okay. But facial transformation. What are the rules behind that? Do all his followers only see him as the shadow? Is it like, does his face actually change shape, or is it that he's mind controlling them to see his face as that? I have a bunch of different, like in the notes when
Okay.
he's talking to the Tolko at the first, he's like,
Yeah.
your face changes with anger.
Mm.
And so it's sort of referencing it, but his face
Yeah.
doesn't actually change until he becomes the shadow later. So that was unclear to me. I don't know if his face changes or if other people think his face changes if he's controlling their mind.
Okay. I think his face does change because when he's later on, he's in the cab and Peter Boyle is looking at him in the mirror, and like, as you know, it's a few different sequences of like he gets the big nose, and then he uses the scarf, the red scarf around, and then he gets the hat on. So it's like a couple different transitions. But I think we're meant to believe that the cab driver is seeing that, because he kind of then adjusts the mirror as if it's like, I shouldn't be seeing your transformation. So I think he does physically change.
Really?
And then later on in the kind of the confrontation with Khan, it's like Khan says, like, you're losing focus, and that's why your disguise is slipping. So that's kind of why he transitions back and forth between, or kind of goes back to just his real face.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a vanity thing. Like he just wanted to have a different look.
I'm really curious to see if the comic book does this facial transformation, because I suspect that's just what Lamont Cranston looks like. He's just a guy with a kind of a big nose, and then he looks intimidating and sinister with the hat and the scarf kind of covering his mouth and everything. I think they just wanted to make the character look exactly like the comic, and they didn't. I don't know. I think they wanted to just put Alec Baldwin in that like makeup, as if like we wouldn't understand that that's him underneath the hat and the. I don't know. It's weird. I'm really curious to find out if Lamont in the comics undergoes a transition, because I'm suspecting that he doesn't.
I did not see that in my super intense Google search of the comics, but the thing I did see was the covers of some of the older, I think it was from 1970. There was a cover and they showed the shadow, and I might be lying right now, forgive me if I am, but it looked pretty spot on to the face that they gave him in the film.
Right.
There were some that weren't spot on, but this one, and I think it was from the 70s, was like spot on. So kudos on that for recreating that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's all it was, is just homage kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the reasoning behind it's just weird. I don't know.
Right. Because Patrick, you and I talked about the way they transformed Mickey Rourke to play Marv in Sin City.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they gave him enough facial prosthesis to look like spot on to the comics, which makes sense because you have a guy who looks very iconic. And so it's kind of like if you did that and then in other scenes you went back to just Mickey Rourke's face, like added a transition where sometimes he looks like that and some, so it's like on one hand they want to recreate the comic book accurate version sometimes as if it is a mask that he puts on like Batman, and then they still want the regular Alec Baldwin throughout the rest of the film, So it's like it's just an odd choice to do both, I guess, to have him with the big nose and everything,
Yeah.
So
it does make sense though on the level of, a superhero has to hide his identity. So the Shadow doesn't wear a mask. This is how he chooses to do that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. A hat, a mask, a face morph. I mean,
yeah.
It's exhausting.
A Brooks Brothers tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that setup. I was a little disappointed the next time that we see Khan, he's still in his, very Mongolian warlord, very Eastern kind of medieval representation, and not in a like 3-piece Brooks Brothers suit with all that. But eventually, like we do see him in that look. But I was surprised that it wasn't like the very next time we saw him. So I'm glad that they did put him in a suit, because I'm glad they didn't keep him in the. Well, for the most part, they do put him back into the ceremonial kind of look the rest of the movie, which I kind of didn't like. I kind of wish that all of his henchmen all looked modern, seeing them running around in very, I guess, of the time kind of armor was a little strange. Like, you guys kind of stick out.
That was my note in the Chinatown scene. I'm like,
yeah.
Finally, they don't stick out so bad. These guys are just running around in plate armor all over New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that definitely didn't make. If it had been a time travel timeline, then it would have made sense.
Yeah.
But if it was, from the years leading up to 1935, it definitely didn't make sense to me that they were wearing that.
Well, to be fair, it was out in the boonies. I mean,
well, that's the thing. Like, that's very Hollywood, or I mean, it's also from the comics, like showing, because this area is unfamiliar to European and American audiences, we can show that this region is very uncivilized and undeveloped. It's just a little bit of it's a little problematic, is all I'm saying.
Just a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's like a precursor to today's meth labs.
Sure, yeah.
I just have to point out, there was the moment at the very beginning when Lamont saves Roy Tam's life, and then he gives him the ring, and he's like,
oh, yeah.
You owe your life to me now. I was like, yes, so he has a cult. So awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
I enjoyed that.
One of my many agents that have glowing red rings that nobody's wife mentions.
Yeah.
Right?
Honey, where'd you get that ring? Never you mind.
Is it the bowling guys again, honey?
Yeah.
Slipping notes in the middle of the night under.
Is that your bowling championship ring that glows?
Yeah.
I like how everyone's like a Lois Lane that's married to these guys. It's like, oh, God, it annoys me, but whatever. So, can we get into the fight at the professor's office, whatever?
Is that... Let's see.
It's after she meets up with him, or after she meets him the second time at the club, and then he runs off to try to get to her dad first.
Yeah.
I utterly confused by his powers after this.
Okay.
Because it seemed like he was a shadow, but other times it just seems like he's invisible with his mind tricks.
Right.
Like, you can see his feet in the water, or like the flashlight creates the shadow. Like,
yeah.
But then he comes out of the shadow. Like, I don't know.
Right. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They pin him to the wall with the crossbow.
I thought the shadow was just the weakness that they could see him then, because he's still a physical person. But then this makes it look like he became the shadow and comes out of the shadow.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I got totally confused as to what his power was.
Not sure, yeah.
Because it should just be mind trick, and he's really there, they just can't see him, and all you can see is a shadow. But then this scene just blew that out of the water, and I was just like, okay, I give up. I don't know what's going on. But it was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this... Oh, God. I know we talked about it, but I think this scene also has one of the lines that just made me say, oh, dear.
Is this
it?
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay.
Which...
Please. I better be right. Let's hear the line that you... Your favorite line of the film.
I may be paraphrasing, forgive me, but it is, next time you get to be on top.
Yes. That's the line. Okay.
Huh.
I could not believe I heard it. I was like, wait.
What?
Why? Like, that line doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Like, why would you say that? Like, and I'm like, okay, is this like a hip, like thing? Like, is he gay? I don't. I'm confused.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I've got some very millennial views for you on this. Okay, one of the commentaries I read actually said that this movie was quite underrated because it's subversive sexual humor. So yes, they are under the impression that he is gay.
Okay.
They also said that the director was one of few openly gay directors of the time. So I have racked my brain trying to figure out in a fighting or conflict sense, like what that phrase could mean. Like, what would that mean if you're like fighting someone? Is there any way to take that phrase other than sexual? Can you guys think of one?
No,
because he basically used him as a landing pad. So I don't. Next time he's on top means that he's gonna die. So like, it makes zero sense other than it's a kitschy thing to say, I guess.
Yeah.
And
that is, that's interesting because later, like, it seems like Lamont goes to great lengths to not sleep with her when she's at his house. Like, he obviously like shows up in her bedroom the next morning, but they definitely don't spend the night together.
Yeah.
When she tells him the dream she had, I don't think he's coming across as maybe bisexual, we'll say.
Sure. But no, I think that's interesting that, there's definitely sexual tension there, when she's talking about the dream, but I like how that's just building the joke when he tells her his dream. So that was a great moment, but that is just interesting. And I don't even know, I don't think at the end, do they even kiss?
I think they do.
They do, yeah.
Okay.
Eventually they do. Yeah.
Okay.
So another thing that I found another interview where the director was kind of reflecting back on having made the film, and he talked about how he had some conflicts with the studio where he wanted to make it very much like a fantasy film, and the studio was more interested in making a like 30s romantic period film, I guess. And I definitely think you can see that in just where it sort of like will make hints at things but not take them all the way. And I don't know, I do wonder if in his mind, like, this character was like a gay superhero, and if there were a sequel, he would eventually come out. That's kind of where I would take it.
Yeah.
But the problem that I kind of see with my opinion of that is that some of the jokes that I take is like, okay, well, that might be a gay joke, like he's so fashionable, like that's so stereotypical. So that's kind of lame. And then like, I have this closet full of women's clothing. Well, why do you have that?
His Aunt Rose left them there. Yeah.
Do you have lots of women visitors like Bruce Wayne, or like what is the implication there? So
there's no way Alec Baldwin would have fit in those dresses, though. Let's be honest. I mean,
and then there's also his like self-loathing that's very prominent in this story. Like, it's sort of there with like his history as a drug dealer, but then also is it because it has self-loathing because he's living in a society where he can't be out or something like that. You could go down a rabbit hole with that.
It's too bad that they didn't that they couldn't possibly have shown him, like, because he wakes up in a bed in the kind of before when he's in Tibet, like he wakes up with 2 or 3 women in bed with him. That would be interesting to have like men and women with him, because he's clearly like he has this harem of, I think they're even in the credited as concubines. Like when we first meet him in Tibet, like there's all kinds of people, because it's an opium den. There's women all over each other and all over men, and I would be perfectly fine like accepting that there would also be men there, in his bed, and that would be interesting. Yeah, I could see kind of redoing that. Not that it's necessary, but why not?
It'd be like the first gay superhero. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah,
maybe I'm way off. I don't know.
Definitely, we haven't had any openly gay characters in any of our movies yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only thing that comes to mind are Ace and Gary from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Maybe Robin? We don't know.
Maybe.
Let's see, where are we at?
They just had a fight in the office and all that fun.
At what point does he have the meeting with Khan? It's after he's being followed by the henchmen, and he goes into Chinatown and then does kind of the switcheroo and ends up following that guy and meets again with Khan, and now Khan's in the three-piece suit, and they have the back and forth, and that turns into a fight chase scene.
Yeah, he's after him because he sent Margot to kill him.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Because he can hypnotize
I was trying
her.
to remember where that fit in with the fight in the lab when we were
Oh,
talking
okay,
about
I gotcha.
I just can't remember how those scenes play out, like which one came first. And I do want to talk about, like, kind of going back to Margot and Lamont, and I really like the scenes that they get together. Their banter is really good, and especially that morning after, like we've kind of been talking about, the tit for tat kind of thing that's going on with them. Like he's telling her, initially he told her, you'll be gone in the morning, and then she's obviously sticking around, and he's telling her, you need to get dressed and leave, and she's like, no, I'm coming with you. And it just kind of goes on for a little bit longer, and he finally is just like, yeah, you're coming with me.
And we get another line that stood out to me.
Oh,
it's
I don't know this one.
She
What is it?
Basically says that he's so easy to read.
Yeah.
And then he says that's because I'm psychically well endowed.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
That's a good
what?
one. Yeah.
I was like, that's one way to put it, I guess. I was like, oh. Right after the other one, I'm like, where are we going here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get it. You're a sexual being. Let's move on, please.
Those were in the shooting script. I can't help but wonder if they were in earlier drafts.
Anywho, yeah, I do like the two of them together.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
They have good chemistry together.
I think she did a really good job. I mean, she's good with Ian as well. Like later on here.
Mm-hmm. I did feel like I wish I could have seen more of Ian McKellen. It seemed like a little bit of a waste of Ian McKellen. I wish I could have seen more.
Yeah, half the movie he was hypnotized, so you didn't get too much from him.
Yeah,
he's the what's his name from Avengers? He's the Swedish.
Oh, Hawkeye.
No, the professor
Magneto.
in that.
No, he's Magneto.
Well, no. In the X-Men movies, but in Avengers, there's Dr. Selvig, who is he's the science guy and gets possessed by Loki and does all of the science stuff to create Loki's bomb, basically, or teleportation device. So he basically spends the entire movie kind of like Ian McKellen here, where he's just like hypnotized and carrying out the bad guy's plans. But
so Avengers ripped off the Shadow.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The little scene we get with Khan up in the Empire State Building. I'm not sure why we're there, but we're up on the observation deck of the Empire State Building, and he gets one of these sailors to jump to his death. I absolutely love how they pan away from the building to show the guy falling, and it's like as it pans down, the guy's just falling, and he hits one of the other levels and kind of does a little flip, and then it like keeps panning down, and that's when we see Lamont and Margot together, and they're getting out of the cab and they're continuing to walk, and it's like it's a great transition from one to the next, but with this great little thud of this guy's body hitting the building. Just it was oddly satisfying because that actor is another that guy. He's in so many things, and he's always an asshole, and so like I'm perfectly fine with that guy in this movie having that ending. I don't know. It was very satisfying.
I do like that transition as well. Was there a moment where where Margot and Lamont stopped and kind of like acknowledged it at all, or did they just?
I don't think so. You hear a thud, And then,
there was a phrase he used that kind of tied into it.
Was there?
Yeah, and I'm blanking on what it is now.
I don't know.
It was almost like something about like they were trying to like piece things together and needed something to just fall out of the sky kind of line.
Oh, okay.
It was something like that. I don't know if it was that blatant, but it was somewhere along those lines.
Something on the nose.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's the the water stunt sequence, the action kind of set piece with because they kind of go their separate ways. You know, she's gonna go look up building records. Maybe is this they know that something's weird about that street corner, and he's gonna go talk to Tim Curry because they know that he's working on the next piece of the bomb. And of course that takes us into that action set piece that I thought was pretty good.
Tim Curry is Farley Claymore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I love that name. I don't know why. Farley.
I like that she says Farley Claymore, and he's like, "What? Like, is that a thing? Is that a?" It's like, no, it's my father's assistant or something like that. But
yeah, weird name for a weird fella.
Yeah. I like that he's just kind of starts the unhinged bit here, but we definitely get more of that later. So this kind of takes us into the third act, and this is kind of where the momentum really dies down for me a little bit. We're kind of slogging through it, I think, a little bit. Like, we know what the threat is. The threat's building. Now they have all their pieces to their bomb, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it kind of feels like we're just waiting for the inevitable climax, the confrontation here. So some of this is just feels a little bit like
let's hurry up and get it over with.
Kind of, yeah. Like he's wounded, and he had been shot by Tim Curry by Farley Claymore, and so he's weak and in bed, and I don't know. So just some of that was a little bit of a slog, but not for too long.
I like that they set the timer for 2 hours, and then he's like, "We're gonna leave it an hour for the airplane." Like, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, New York traffic. I don't know how fast airplanes are. Then
yeah,
you're cutting it close there, Khan. And then he's still there by the time they get there.
Oh yeah.
And then we get into movie time lapse.
Honestly, like none of that even. I didn't even know. I mean, I noticed that they say, set the timer for 2, but I didn't even then think about, that they were trying to escape the city at that point.
Yeah.
But,
He's like, there's a plane coming for us in an hour.
Okay.
So let's set it for 2 hours.
More than enough time.
Yeah.
I did definitely enjoy Tim Curry his relationship with Genghis Shah Khan's, descendant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just the whole like, oh, you thought you'd be a king? I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And that he joined of his own free will.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a nice, like, you're so slimy that you didn't even have to be bedazzled.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I really loved was, like, once we... the return of this idea that the Shadow has all these agents throughout the city, and these messengers are coming in to this central pneumatic tube station, and this guy is passing them along, and then you see one guy gets a note, and the guy passes it to somebody else, and there's a nice... I like that idea that there's just all these this network, that's where
this cult is widespread.
Yeah.
I would just like to be one of the people around, like hearing the conversation where it's talking about the sunshine and then slippery and
like what?
Yeah,
what is happening?
What's wrong with you guys?
There's a really gorgeous like entrance scene when the Shadow enters this monolith hotel. When he gets in, and you see the water splashing as he's running up to the entrance.
Oh, yeah.
He takes out these 2 guards, and then you just see him in the full-on costume. The cape's flapping kind of behind him, and he walks into the hotel. It's a beautiful setup. I really like that.
The wind of mystery. Where did that wind come from? I love it.
I thought they did that quite well. Yeah. I was very happy with that shot.
It's weird. I buy into it every time.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
when
it's like-
somebody really hot comes on the screen and automatically their hair's blowing. It's
Oh
the
yeah,
same kind of thing.
right.
I wish I looked that good with a wind machine. That's all I'm
Hmm.
saying. If I could do that, I would do it every chance I had.
Yeah, I think I might be able to pull it off now. I got some quarantine hair going, so it might fly in the breeze. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but
That would be a good poster moment.
Mm.
so
So
now Farley's got to get his hands dirty.
Tim Curry gets weird.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
the
man, this
camera
scene is
angle on
bonkers.
him is just.
Yeah.
I was like, yikes! I could see like into his eyelid.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just like that top down, like and then the sweat,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh my god, this
There's
dude
like-
is so creepy.
There's a blood vessel in his eye that's burst. Like he's so manic.
Yeah,
So I like the scene on the bridge where the gangster was like just firing his gun randomly,
Yeah.
just trying to hit anything. And this one's better. It's him just cut loose with this Tommy gun, and just it gets to a point of he leaves fear and enters into mania where he starts laughing. And and it's not the shadow laughing at that point. It's Tim Curry laughing. So I really like that part.
I was like, I wrote down Tim Curry's laugh is way more disturbing.
Mm.
Like it just creeped me out.
For a brief time, Tim Curry was cast as the Joker in the animated Batman.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh,
He
wow.
did I think he did like 3 episodes that they voiced him as the Joker, and then they just felt like something just wasn't working, so they brought in Mark Hamill to test him out, and it ended up working better for what they wanted. So, but
I think you just know
somewhere
it's
out
Tim
there,
Curry, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
that could be it.
He's got a signature sound that he
Yeah.
can't
Oh man.
divorce himself from, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Is it possible, like, what's the tone on the comic? Because is it possible for him to not be comedic?
Mm.
I feel like like the harder he tries to be dramatic, I almost feel like I would find it funny because it's Tim Curry, and I
Sure.
just have this long-standing history of seeing him and laughing, I guess.
Yeah.
Him talking with that camera angle, like the way he was, made
Yeah.
me think of it when he was
Yeah.
Pennywise, and like that cadence, it just creeped me out. So it didn't make me laugh until he was doing the spin dance shooting sequence.
Yeah.
Where he's
Okay.
just lovingly spinning with his Tommy gun, just blasting away.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny, but like when he was talking and it was like he was all sweaty and like I don't know, it just made me think of his horror experience with it. So,
Right.
still gives me willies.
So another thing I really like about that moment is just that I feel like if you were to consider the Shadow and his most potential as a fighter, I guess, his ability is to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear that creates is you don't know where the attack is coming from. And
Yeah.
that's the moment where we actually see that. So it's sort of like his abilities capitalized right there. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like that moment captured that idea the best.
Oh yeah,
It's funny because that's what they use in comics and animation for Batman. They constantly are showing that Batman can like melt into the shadows, not literally, but in animation and in comics, you can do that where he can just be anywhere and nowhere at the same time, and that sort of thing, where he can come from nowhere and make his attack and then slip into the shadows, where we've never had that really in film because physically he doesn't have a superpower where he can do, where he can become hidden in the shadows. So it's interesting, like here we have a hero that literally does have that superpower to fade into the shadow. So it is cool that you can do that on screen the way that we've seen, Batman in cartoons and stuff like that. So it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you think about this final sequence here, the battle? Well, I guess not the final, the
Right.
first part of the battle
Yeah, where he's
in the throne room or whatever.
he's up against this knife again.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this knife. Oh, there was such a good line when Khan introduces the knife when they meet up at that restaurant, and he pulls it out, and Lamont just says, "Oh, that knife." But yeah, here again, it's I don't love it. I like that he eventually gets control over it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I had a problem with that, just in that he does. Okay, so it felt to me like this should have been his big heroic moment, where he finally lets go of control. He listens to his instinct, like they've been telling him before. Like his weakness is that I couldn't even tell if it was whether he can't let go of control or he doesn't have control. It kind of went back and forth.
Sure.
But he has that moment where he's struggling with the knife, and then he just gives in and drops it and just like chills out. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he's able to, with his mind, send his knife to Khan and just stab him in the stomach. But then he does not retain control of the knife. Like, he doesn't continue his chill vibe, mind power abilities. Right. Suddenly Khan is back in control of the knife. And that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. The knife doesn't have a clear set rule to it, it seems. Because, yeah, at that point you would have thought, like, the allegiance of the knife is now with him or something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah. Or why did it go back to Khan?
Yeah. Until he loses control of the knife, I get very Force Awakens vibes from that, where the end fight with Rey and Kylo, where the lightsaber finally goes to Rey, and they have their fight, and she just has this moment of calm, of like, the Force, and then she like takes a moment and suddenly realizes that she has this power, and like, so when you were saying all that, Ashley, that's where my mind went, was that scene in Force Awakens. So, but yeah, then he loses that connection to the knife, and I guess it's a fickle thing where you just have to maintain this focus, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it was a beginner's luck kind of thing.
Yeah. Because that's when he gets the knife in the stomach. That's when the hotel is visible, right?
When he stabs him.
Yeah.
He loses his concentration, I guess, because he's constantly mind controlling the city.
Because then that's when Ian McKellen, he is no longer under the spell.
When he wakes up, I feel like that Yakety Sax song should start up when they're chasing the bomb around.
Oh man,
it's like da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't
so
love
weird.
the bomb just comically like rolling down the hallway. I kept thinking, if this thing gets onto an elevator, I'm gonna be really pissed. And then she says it's headed towards the elevator, and then luckily it went to the elevator shaft, and it surprised me with it ended up getting like kind of trapped there because of the gate forming a bridge. Like, that was cool, but I thought it was just going to roll into an elevator and then start, going down to the next floor or whatever. So that.
So we get a stereotypical mirror battle.
Oh yeah.
I'm so tired of the mirror rooms. I don't like, it's in way too many movies.
But he has to confront his dark self.
I guess, but I'm so tired. Like Scooby-Doo does it enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it there.
I saw that scene was going to be extended. There was going to be like a longer hallway, and Khan was going to be showing him all of his past like warlord visions and stuff. Like, he was going to throw all of that stuff in Lamont's face, basically, like showing him the darkness that is inside of himself, and then he'd have to overcome that and be the hero, I guess. But you kind of don't get that. You just, they have their glass explosion little sequence, and then Lamont, I guess, mentally controls this piece of glass to hurl at Khan, and that's just dispatches him pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pierced his brain, in fact. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that knife. He's got the glass.
Right.
Yeah, I bet the knife was like, "Aw, he's found somebody else."
Yeah.
He felt left out. But so, Travis, what you were saying about what you kind of thought would happen, where the Shadow would be given that choice of like, do I follow the path of evil, give into the darkness, kill him, or not, is kind of interesting, because I agree with you there. Like, that would have been, to me, an interesting resolution to that sequence. In addition, in the script, the part where Margot shows up to kill him, the thing that is supposed to happen out of that, you find out in his conversation with Khan later, is that Khan didn't send Margot there to kill him. Khan sent her there so that the Shadow would kill her, so he would give into his dark side. That did not come through in the film for me at all. I had no idea that was the plan until I read the script.
They do say that, like, so you killed the girl, and Lamont's like, no, I let her live, or something like that. So they gloss over it pretty quick, but it's not. Yeah.
The impact of it on like his internal journey is definitely not something I got at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he comes across like a pretty decent human being in this 7 years later.
Yeah.
It's only in his dreams that you get, he's still struggling, because throughout the movie he just seems like a typical superhero guy, kind of Batman-esque, where he's kind of brooding, but not like he ate an entire village after smoking opium, kind of evil, or whatever he was doing in that dream.
Just bathing in the blood of his enemies.
Is he bathing? Because he looked like he was licking. So
well, I mean, he was just he was just covered in blood. Yeah.
He
was a barbarian.
Yeah, but
I'm impressed that at no point was Margot a damsel in distress, because that could have easily been she goes into the hotel when he gives him the signal, and I could easily see one of Khan's henchmen getting her and taking her to Khan, and that's why he loses his focus with the knife and stuff, like, because she's in danger. Like, most superhero movies kind of end that way. Batman movies and several others. Like, I was really impressed that she was never a pawn to be used. I mean, she was in the hypnotized to go kill him kind of sequence, but that takes us somewhere. That that does lead to things.
That's true.
He was actually
for the time she was a very.
Oh, sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, for the time, for '94, she was a pretty strong female character.
Yeah.
So for the time, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he was the gent in distress, I guess, when he was in the dome, and he used his psychic help thing.
Called out to
then
her,
she
and
came and saved him. So
yeah,
I don't know. I still don't know how that worked, but it worked. She drove across the city and got to him in time, and luckily that mind thing works across the Well,
I like
Manhattan
that was
region.
like his last ditch attempt. Like, I don't think he'd done that before, because Khan had done that to her dad and to her, but he had never done the long range telepathy. So I like the little callback joke to her dad not knowing the difference between red and green.
With the wires.
They're trying to disarm the bomb. Just kind of a quick little thing, but
my comment was, if you're making a bomb and you can't tell the difference between a red and green wires, maybe don't use red and green wires.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense to him because green is red and red is green, so it's all a matter of perspective.
Okay.
And if anything, that's going to make it harder and more confusing to disarm for somebody else. Well, they'll be like, it's obviously the green wire, but he thought the green wire was the red wire, so So I guess it ends on a bummer for Khan.
I love that ending. I love that they don't just outright kill Khan, and that you see I guess the doctor as he's leaving, like he's got a ring, so he's in the shadow like network.
It's messed up.
yeah, it's
so
dark. I'm the descendant of Genghis Khan. I'm Shakespeare. I'm Henry VIII. Like all the other voices.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And then they kiss.
Yes.
And that's about it. And then who knows? The shadow knows. Blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
The shadow knows sometimes, not always.
Yeah. All right. So that was the movie.
That's the shadow. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Just as painful as I remembered.
I did. I stuck through the credits and listened to the song that was definitely inspired by the movie. That they clearly wanted a Tina Turner type, and it's someone. Oh, it's great. It's a great song. It's like it's full of lines from the movie. It weirdly it would fit The Shadow and it would fit a James Bond movie.
Oh, okay.
Because I think she even
kinda?
I think she even said no. It's very Tina Turner,
but
it's like got lines. Yeah. It's got lines like I want to say like something about License to Thrill.
Oh, God.
Instead of License to Kill,
it was
of
so
course.
bad.
It put a smile on my face. There were so many cheesy lines. I mean, even just stuff like he knows the sins. What is it? He knows what evil lurks in the heart of men. Like that stuff's in there. The shadow knows.
Yeah.
I think we found your new karaoke song, Travis.
It might have to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention my
gosh.
favorite line from the movie. It's when he's fighting on the bridge and he says the weed of crime bears bitter fruit.
Oh, God. It's so bad.
It's so good. Come on, man.
I was finishing up the movie and my husband came home and he's a musician, and it's so funny that you talked about that, Travis, because I completely forgot about that, but my husband heard the music and just immediate was like, oh, I need to know who made this. Like he was so excited by how bad that last song was that he needed to know who made it, and I don't remember who made it now.
It's Taylor Dane. It's not a name I recognize.
Okay.
I don't know. They definitely, wanted Tina Turner, but
wasn't available.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So why don't we go around and talk about the most heroic and most villainous moments? And typically we start with most villainous. So
This planet, these people, they are nothing to me.
You were made to be ruled.
The universe is power! You unstoppable power! Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod! And I am that force! I am that power!
In the end, you will always kneel.
Kneel before your master!
I struggle with this one because starting your movie off with they bring in a rival opium dealer or opium farmer and Lamont just has him killed and his own man killed. Like I don't know. It's a weird place to start, but it happens.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that one. That's our hero. Yeah. That's our villainous moment, but yeah.
I guess it's gonna have to be sending Margot to kill him, because it wasn't so much that he thought she'd succeed, but planned on her failing so that his scheme would succeed and bringing the shadow to his side.
That's
good.
That's
a pretty villainous plot. Yeah. It's like a weird win-lose, or I guess lose-lose for him, but he thought it was like a easy transition for his plan to work, I guess. Not totally understanding the Shadow's transformation into good guy superhero, man.
Yeah. Oh, I have 3 different moments.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, if we're going with like iconic villainous moment, I think it's got to be Tim Curry shooting the gun crazily, just in circles.
Sure.
Like the plan of nuclear bombing a city, that's pretty villainous. But I don't know if that's a moment versus a plan.
Sure, yeah.
And then the other one for me would maybe be like, it doesn't hit the way I think it should hit, I guess, because it's that moment when Khan tells Lamont that he killed their mutual teacher with that knife. However, the Tulka it's not like Lamont is super fond. He doesn't ever like remember the Tulka fondly, so maybe he didn't care that much.
Sure.
I don't know.
That's a good point. I forgot about that he killed his master, I guess. I don't.
Yeah. It's a good moment when he was telling him, like, because he was like, I got this from the Tulka, or I guess I should correct myself. I got this out of the Tulka. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good one. Completely forgot about that little bit of information he dumped on us there.
Yeah, they did that a few times.
Yeah, a little bit.
How about heroic?
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
I just finally know what I have to do.
That keeps us honest.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
Gives us strength.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
Makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
I mean, the easy one is the bridge scene. Like his intro there. Like in the shadows, laughing and quipping as his heart content, or to his heart's content. And then sort of the, what was it? It was weird because I wasn't expecting him to have the bad guy turn himself in. Like that's how he does things, I guess.
Right.
He bullies him into
convince the gangster. Yeah.
Like he torments him until he says, "I'll turn myself in. I'm going."
Yeah.
I thought that was a good intro, a heroic
cool.
intro.
Yeah.
Because it could have just been him beating the crap out of him.
Sure. Leaving him for cops to find or something.
Like tied up or something. Yeah.
I gotta go with Margot saving his ass in the with the water. I don't know what that containment thing was. The big
it was the sphere that held the other sphere.
Yeah, right. It's the Epcot Center that he was trapped in.
Very weird.
But Margot getting there in time and you know.
Yeah.
I like how she just gets freaking bulldozed by the water that comes out.
I know. Well, it's funny because it was going to happen. It's like if she opens that door, she's going to get just blasted by this water. So, but
took it like a champ.
I feel like I wanted it to be when Lamont is able to overcome his mind issues and stop the knife and send it towards Khan. But then it's sort of like it's cheapened by the continued fight with the Khan. So I feel like that should be it, but then I guess it's maybe when he sticks the glass through Khan's brain, thereby saving humanity.
Yeah, right.
Good old glass shard in the brain trick.
Yeah.
Through skull. Okay.
It's very
mostly only damage your frontal lobe, which no one really uses, unless you're telepathic.
Exactly.
I love that last little dig. Because he knows. That's just salt in the wound, man.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I'm impressed by the headline that Madman threatens city, demands billions in ransom. Because Dr. Evil couldn't even get that right.
Yeah, I thought of that exact moment. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. How did they know billions?
That was yeah.
Because this is not too far after the Great Depression, so it's not like we're rolling.
Yeah, they really don't lean on that much of somehow, obviously they get the word out, that the city is under ransom, but they don't lean on that. There's not a lot of
it's like the mayor's like, what are we going to do?
Never feels like, it never feels like the city is aware that they're in danger or that I don't know.
So
other than that, like the newspaper sequence.
The script has a few more moments that were cut out.
Okay.
Where the news is traveling throughout the city. So you see like page boys talking about it, things like that. So there definitely was more that I think they cut out. And I was like, did they do that for time? Were they running out, or did they just feel like it was too repetitive? But the movie comes in at an hour 48. So, I mean, they probably could have had a couple more minutes. Yeah. And there's a couple more like backflash scenes where he remembers like a moment struggling with darkness from his childhood that I kind of thought helped. And like there's a scene where he almost punches Margot in the face, but then stops himself.
Okay.
Yeah. So
context, like, please.
I got to go back to reading the script. Like Khan is maybe controlling him, or he's fighting. Like maybe it was during a nightmare, so he's fighting his dark side, and he gets overwhelmed, or he turns into the shadow in front of her. Oh, it's when she finds out she has the realization that he is the shadow, and he freaks out that she's figured it out, and because he needs to keep that hidden. So he goes to like destroy her, but he instead punches a hole through the wall next to her head. But doesn't hurt her. So like there are more elements of him fighting his internal battle against darkness in the script that were not in the film.
Okay.
Weird. Yeah. Because they sort of gloss over all that struggle for the most part. It's kind of just shoehorned in randomly throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Looking at him while he creepily sleeps with his eyes open. Which was weird because
I do that all the time.
Yeah, you don't do that, Patrick?
Your husband's a braver man than me. If I saw that, I'd be calling like the exorcist up. Like, come on, something's going on.
You have no idea.
Her entire face is in shadow, but her eyes, it's freaking me out.
I love what they were doing with his eyes. I don't know if they were using like silver contacts.
Oh, yeah, they're like really blue at one point, and then they're like silver one moment.
Well, yeah, it's like sometimes they're almost reflective silver. Yeah. Sometimes they're just complete black, saucers in his eyeballs. They do a couple different things throughout the different scenes, but like they're in the kind of the end fight when he's just looking badass with just the two guns, the black like trench coat, no hat, no mask, anything. He's just running around, a real action hero. But yeah, they do something with his eyes where they're kind of reflective. But I don't know. Shall we all rate this thing and then get out of here?
Yeah, I'll go last.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll go first. I'm gonna give it a solid 2 because probably never see it again. It's got a lot of flaws. It might be. I can't even say it'd be good to have on while you're folding laundry, because there's not like really a scene I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this. I gotta stop doing this and watch this. Like there's none of that for me in this movie, and I don't know. It made me more confused than enjoyed. Like I just didn't have a real good time with this one. Unfortunately, I could see the potential. It might be a good movie if you're watching it with like a group, maybe. Once we can be with people. But I'm going 2.
Okay. It kind of surprises me because I mean I would say that the movie that this is most like is Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
and we both had a lot of fun with Dick Tracy. I gave it a 4.25. You gave it a 4.5, and like to me it has that same kind of feeling, but without the kid-friendly vibe over the whole movie, which I'm fully on board with there and here. I think tone-wise that it works, for different reasons both ways. So yeah, I went into this one really not expecting anything. I think even on our last episode when we said that this is what we were going to be talking about, like. I just thought, we'll slog through this one to get to the whatever's next after this, just because I knew I had seen it once and had no memory or feelings about it. But I don't know. It just hit me at the right way. I watched it this morning and, pretty much right off the bat just kind of fell in love with this movie. There's definite flaws. Like I can see, it has the cheesiness, but I think that's again intentional. Like I think that almost amplifies. It's the right level of cheese in this movie. There's some production things that don't hold up great, but I'm still like blown away by the technical things that they did, the special effects that they did with the shadow effects and all that stuff. So even like other production flaws aren't enough to take the score down for this one for me. And I like the characters. I really like Penelope Ann Miller, and I thought Alec Baldwin was just. I wish he had other action movies around this time. I kind of would like to have seen him as Batman. I mean, we kind of have now at this point with this, but it all really worked for me. So I would give it I'm at a 4, just a solid 4. Like I really liked it. It's not my favorite movie, now or anything, but I basically, when it was over, I wished that I had paid the $7.99 on iTunes to buy it instead of the $3.99 to rent it, because I could see wanting to watch this again.
Really?
And if I do want to watch it again in the future, I'll happily pay for it, the full price or whatever. But I definitely wished that I had just owned this right after it was over. So, so a 4 from me.
All right,
Ashley.
All right. So I'm going to do a 1994 rating and a 2021 rating.
Okay.
I think my 1994 rating would be 3.5, and my 2021 rating is probably 2.5. I don't think I will watch this again, but I would be interested to see a director's cut just to see how that turned out. I would definitely be really interested to see his full interpretation. No studio conflicts involved, I guess. And I don't think I will watch this again, but I probably am going to watch Hudson Hawk again just to see if I still think it's funny.
We're not here to talk about Hudson Hawk.
Perfect.
Stop trying to make Hudson Hawk happen.
Should we talk about Hallmark again?
Yeah.
Ding.
Oh, Lordy.
So just to be clear, you are at you said 3.5 for 1994.
And a 2.5 2021.
Okay. Gotta be difficult.
Sorry.
No, and also I put it at a 2 because of the copious amounts of chest hair screen time we got at the beginning.
Oh man,
I was just like, I was like, ew, I can see his nipple. It's so pink and the hair, and I'm like, I'm like, does
I
he
do not
shed?
even remember that at all.
Yeah,
it's the whole
I think
opening of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is getting way too much screen time, and I am not on board. Yeah, I'm like, and then like he's all like covered in blood, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna mat the hair. It's
the nails. Did you see the nails?
Oh, I know. I was like, what
yeah,
the
the
hell
nails.
is that? Totally forgot.
Yeah, it was gross.
I was like, is that an opium thing? You get, because I know some drugs you get long pinky nails for, and I was like, is this an
Oh,
opium
that's
thing?
cocaine. No, I don't know.
Beats me, but yeah, nails I'll look over. The massive chest hair cameo, not so much.
So let's see. So the shadow comes in at a 3, all averaged out. So
yeah, you really brought that one up there, Travis. Jeez.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun with it.
See, I think
I could see a remake being good.
Yeah, I could see it if it showed his struggle more. Like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to see his journey to New York, like the 7 years we didn't see.
Yeah.
I think that would have been more fun,
Yeah.
like the struggle, but it would have been a much darker movie. It wouldn't have been
Just go watch Batman Begins.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
That is true. But yeah. Okay, so middle of the road.
Yeah.
I'm not upset with that. Whatever. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm just like, whatever. It happened.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So, we're ending the trilogy of movies starting with The.
Yes, we are.
We started with The Crow. We just did The Shadow. And up next, most horrifying, The Mask with Jim Carrey. Will it hold up?
I don't know.
It's going to be a rough ride.
That's going to be a hard one to talk about, like, and judge seriously. Like, I watched that movie so much as a kid because it was a, dumb Jim Carrey comedy movie, but I don't know. It's going to be weird to...
I don't think it's going to hold up because...
Yeah.
13-year-old me, it was probably perfect timing.
Right.
Crotchety me, I don't know. We'll
see. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But, yeah, The Shadow. It was
Done with The Shadow.
It was a movie.
Yep. The Shadow.
Not...
It was a movie. It had lines.
Not Hudson Hawk.
Or Hallmark.
Or Hallmark.
It had the hallmark of movie making.
Yes.
There we go. Perfect. All right.
Speaking of Hallmark, Ashley, where can our listeners find more of your projects?
Well, I have 2 shorts that I made on Amazon Prime that are available. One is called Above Jewels, and the other is called Those Lips. So you can find those there. Cool. And then let's see, acting wise, you can see me on a small role in The Rookie, and then on like 2 tiny roles on Yellowstone. Sorry, they were the same role, 2 episodes. And then The Christmas Bow. And it can be BOW, like a Christmas bow, or a violin bow, or a bow as in BEAU. So many possibilities.
Yep. My wife has it on our DVR, I'm sure.
Excellent.
She's got about 15 Christmas movies she's still got to get through. So...
Yeah. Everything else right now is in development hell. Yay!
Yeah, figured, unfortunately.
Thanks, 2020.
Yeah. Yay, pandemic!
Yeah.
I thought there was like a Lifetime or Hallmark colony in Canada where you guys could all go and make movies or something. There should be if there isn't.
Canadian citizenship would be nice.
Yeah. I feel like everything's made in Canada, so at least...
yeah, it really is.
So, maybe they just don't want Americans in there now, so maybe they're kind of stuck here with us. Sorry. All right.
Hot takes.
Yeah. It's been a rough week.
I had so many possibilities for like political takes on this film that I just didn't say, but that's okay.
Yeah,
we've had enough this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Ashley, it was awesome finally getting to talk to you. I'm really glad that you joined us for this, and I hope that we can get you on in the future. So I'll have to send you that list again, and maybe you can pick something else that's 10 years.
Send me Hudson Hawk.
I was gonna say we need to do a special episode now.
Right.
We promised her the movie Hudson Hawk without realizing it.
I'll probably hate it. That's the best part, is I'll watch it and be like, what was I thinking?
All right, fine.
But yeah.
Next time.
Anytime.
Yeah.
You just let me know. I'm happy to come on by and have a good old chat.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, thanks again. And we will be back with The Mask. But until then, stay safe out there, citizens.
This is the story of Stanley Ipkiss.
Stanley, you are the nicest guy. Really, you are.
Yeah. His job is at the bank.
You're 40 minutes late. Now, that's the same as stealing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dickey. It'll never happen again.
He loves his dog.
Come on, Ron. Give him to me. Drop it.
He's polite to his landlord.
Ipkiss, do you have any idea what time it is?
You know, Mrs. Penman?
What? Nothing.
And the most exciting thing in his life are his pajamas. But now...
Hey, you! What are you doing down there? I'm just looking for...
My mask!
All that is about to change. Because Stanley Ipkiss is not the man he used to be. Smokin'!
It's like it brings your innermost desires to life. You become some sort of love-crazy wild man.
I want him here tomorrow, alive.
Now you have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Do ya, punks?
Jim Carrey is...
That's the guy.
Hello!
The Mask.
Ooh, somebody stop me!
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.